Pam Bondi thought today was going to be like any other day. She was walking into a security briefing, something she had done many times before. But the moment she stepped inside, she could tell something was different. Pam had been inside the Secret Service headquarters a lot. She knew how things worked there. It was always quiet, serious, and professional. The agents did their jobs with confidence. They didn't waste time and they didn't make mistakes. But today something felt off. She noticed it right away. The agents, who usually looked calm and in control, were moving quickly. Their voices were hushed. Some of them glanced at her when they thought she wasn't looking. Pam didn't show it, but she could feel it in her gut. Something was wrong. When she reached the security checkpoint, a man in a uniform was already waiting for her. He had an earpiece in his ear. Before she could even take out her ID, he spoke. "Miss Bondi," he said in a low, serious voice. "Follow me." Pam hesitated for just a second. The way he said it, the way he stood, like she had no choice, made her feel uneasy. But she didn't ask questions. Not yet. She had been in politics for a long time. She knew how to stay calm. "What is this about?" she asked, keeping her voice even. The agent didn't answer. He just turned and walked toward a hallway she had never been through before. She watched as he pressed his ID against the scanner. A small light blinked and the doors unlocked. Pam followed him inside. The hallway was different from the rest of the building. There were no windows, no signs, just a row of doors with special locks. This wasn't a place for normal meetings. Her mind was racing now. The Secret Service didn't bring people here unless something serious was going on. Finally, they stopped in front of a steel door. There was no name on it, no sign to say what was inside. Just a small scanner next to it. The agent turned to her. His face was unreadable. "They're waiting for you inside," he said. Pam took a slow breath and stepped through the door. Inside, the room was dimly lit. A massive screen covered almost an entire wall. 3 men stood in front of it. Their arms were crossed, their backs straight. They weren't here for small talk. One of them, Mark Cole, was a high-ranking officer. Pam recognized him right away. He was the deputy director of the Secret Service. He turned to her. "Close the door," he said. Pam hesitated for just a second. She felt the weight of the moment, but she did what he asked. Cole wasted no time. "What you're about to see doesn't leave this room," he said. Pam didn't flinch. "Then why am I here?" she asked. Cole didn't answer. Instead, he pressed a button. The giant screen flickered to life. At first, it just looked like regular security footage. It was a little blurry, black and white. In the corner of the screen, there was a timestamp. This was recorded just 2 days ago. The camera showed the outside of a small, plain-looking building in Washington, D.C. It didn't look important. But then a car pulled up. The back door opened. A man stepped out. Pam's stomach tightened. She knew that face. Everyone in the country did. She leaned in. The man was careful. He glanced around before heading inside the building. He didn't want to be seen. The footage switched to another camera inside the building. Someone was waiting for him. The person's face was hidden, but Pam could tell. They knew each other. They nodded, then walked through a heavy metal door. Pam frowned. This wasn't normal. Cole spoke. "This building isn't government property. It's privately owned. No records, no paperwork." Pam's mind raced. She pointed at the screen. "Who owns it?" A female agent stepped forward. She had sharp eyes, the kind that missed nothing. "It's registered under a shell company in Delaware. But we traced the money to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. Whoever owns it, they're hiding." Pam crossed her arms. "And let me guess," she said. "This isn't the first time he's been there." Cole nodded. "We've been tracking it for 6 months. He's visited 8 times. Always late at night. Always using a different car. Never with his security team." Pam shook her head. A man like him didn't sneak around for no reason. The footage jumped forward. The heavy door opened again. More people walked inside. Pam counted. 7 in total. They were well-dressed. Confident. Important. They acted like they had nothing to fear. One of them turned just enough for the camera to catch part of his face. A file appeared in the corner of the screen. Pam's breath caught. No, this didn't make sense. The man wasn't just some businessman. He was someone the government watched closely. A foreigner with connections to spies. He wasn't even supposed to be in the country. Pam turned to the agents. "Are we sure this is real?" she asked. "This footage hasn't been faked?" The female agent crossed her arms. "We checked 3 times. This is real." Cole fast-forwarded the video. The men were sitting around a table. Papers were spread in front of them. They were talking, but there was no sound. Pam clenched her jaw. What are they discussing? She asked. Cole let out a slow breath. We don't know yet. Pam exhaled. This was worse than she thought. This wasn't just a bad look for a politician. This was something deeper. The footage jumped again. One of the men, an older man with silver hair, placed a thick folder on the table. The politician reached for it. He flipped through the pages. His face didn't change, but his fingers tapped once on the paper. Pam knew body language. That wasn't a reaction of surprise. That was confirmation. The meeting lasted 10 more minutes. Then the papers were tucked away. Hands were shaken. The politician left the same way he came, quiet, careful, like he knew no one would ever find out. Cole turned off the screen. That's all we have for now, he said. Pam rubbed her temples. What do we know about the other men? She asked. The female agent opened a file. 4 of them are Americans, she said. They work in energy, medicine, and military contracts. They have power, but they aren't famous. The other 3? Pam asked. The agent's face hardened. They're foreign nationals, she said, and they have deep financial ties to U.S. policies. Pam stared at the blank screen. Her heartbeat was steady, but her thoughts were racing. This isn't just a scandal, she said finally. This is a secret deal. Cole nodded. That's what we think too. Pam looked up at him. And no one in the White House knows about this? Silence filled the room. Cole didn't answer right away. When he finally did, his voice was quiet. We think someone does. And that was the part that scared her the most. The moment Cole said, someone knows, the room felt different. Pam looked at the agents. They weren't just showing her proof. They were watching her, trying to see how she reacted. Pam crossed her arms. Are you saying someone in the government knows about this and hasn't told anyone? Cole looked at the other agent, a woman named Riley. We're not sure yet, Riley said. Pam frowned. Don't play games with me. If you had no suspects, you wouldn't have called me here. Riley took a deep breath. We think this is bigger than we first thought. Pam's brain was already putting things together. A powerful person, secret meetings with people from other countries, and business leaders connected to national security. This wasn't just about stealing money. This was about power. She pointed at the screen. Where did this meeting happen? Cole didn't answer right away. Riley spoke instead. A private house in McLean, Virginia. It's owned by a real estate company, but when we followed the money, we found out that this company has been caught before for hiding illegal money. Pam narrowed her eyes. Are you saying someone in the government is hiding money to keep these meetings secret? Cole nodded. We're saying someone wants to keep this whole operation hidden. Pam let out a sharp breath. And yet, here we are watching a video from inside that house. Riley smirked a little. Yeah, that part is interesting, isn't it? Pam stood up straighter. That was the key detail. Someone had given them this video. She looked at Cole. Someone sent you this video? Cole didn't say yes, but he didn't say no. It showed up in a secret online folder, he said. Pam stepped closer. That means someone in that meeting wanted us to see it. Riley nodded. Or they wanted something in return. Pam looked back at the screen. This wasn't an accident. Someone inside that room knew they were being recorded and wanted the right people to watch. But why? And why her? She turned back to Cole. Why did you call me in? Cole met her eyes. Because whoever sent this didn't send it to the White House. They didn't send it to the FBI or the CIA. Pam felt her chest tighten. Then who did they send it to? Cole crossed his arms. They sent it to us. And they mentioned your name. Pam's heart started beating faster. What? Cole nodded. Someone in that room thinks you need to see this. Pam stayed quiet, trying to understand. It didn't make sense. She wasn't in the government anymore. She wasn't an investigator. Why would someone in that secret meeting think she could do something about this? Then a scary thought came to her. What if they didn't want to expose this? What if they wanted her to deliver a message? She turned to Riley. Has anyone tried to contact you since you got the video? Riley shook her head. No, but we've noticed something strange. Pam frowned. What kind of strange? Cole pressed a few buttons. A new screen appeared. It wasn't security footage. It was a list of digital records. Pam's eyes moved down the list. Then she saw it. Her name, her home address, her phone calls, her emails, all tracked, logged, watched. Pam's mouth felt dry. Are you saying someone has been spying on me? Cole exhaled. Not just watching. They were expecting you. Whoever sent us this video knew we would call you in. And before you even walked into this room, they already had their eyes on you. Pam ran a hand through her hair. This wasn't just a secret. It was a trap. The real question was, who set it up? And what do they want from her? Her heartbeat slowed. Not from calm, but from knowing the truth. Someone had planned this exact moment. She turned back to Cole. You're telling me someone inside that meeting wanted me to see this, and at the same time they're watching me? Cole nodded. Yes. Pam let out a slow breath. This wasn't random. They didn't choose her by accident. She crossed her arms and thought. So either someone in that meeting wants to expose the truth and thinks I can help. Riley tilted her head. Or, Pam looked at both of them. Or someone is setting me up. The room went silent. Cole didn't move. Riley exhaled through her nose. Neither of them disagreed. Pam shook her head. This doesn't make sense. If someone wanted to leak this, why not go to the news? Why not tell Congress? Cole hesitated. Then in a quieter voice he said, because they don't trust the system. Pam froze. That was it. That was the real answer. Whoever did this didn't think the usual people, the government, the law, could handle it. Pam had been in politics long enough to know what that meant. This wasn't just dirty money. This was something much bigger. Pam rubbed her forehead. She wasn't supposed to be here. She had no power. She wasn't in office anymore. But someone at the highest level, thought she was the only person who needed to see this. That meant only one thing. They wanted her to act. She looked at Cole. What do you expect me to do with this? Cole didn't answer right away. He glanced at Riley. Riley shrugged. Then Cole looked back at Pam. We don't know. Pam's jaw tightened. That's nonsense. Cole sighed. We don't have a plan, Pam. We're telling you because whoever sent this made sure it got to you. Which means you're already involved, whether you want to be or not. Pam turned away, pacing. She felt trapped. If she did nothing, the secret meetings would continue. The powerful people would keep making deals. But if she exposed it, it wouldn't just bring down a few politicians. It could destroy entire government agencies. It could ruin trust in the system. And people like that, they don't go down quietly. Her phone buzzed. A text. Pam pulled it out. Maybe it was her assistant. Maybe it was a news update. But when she saw the sender, her stomach dropped. Unknown number. Pam hesitated. Then she opened the message. One line. Be careful who you trust. Her skin prickled. Cole saw her reaction. What is it? Pam turned the screen toward him. Riley leaned in to look. Cole took a deep breath. When did you get that? He asked. Pam didn't answer. She was staring at the time on her phone. Received, 12 minutes ago. Her heart started beating fast. Whoever sent this message knew she was here. She looked up at the two agents. I think we're already out of time. Someone was watching them. Pam held her phone tightly. This message wasn't a warning. It was a reminder. Someone out there was in charge. And she had just stepped into a game she didn't even know she was playing. She locked eyes with Cole. You said this video wasn't sent to the White House or the FBI? Cole nodded. That's right. Pam took a deep breath. She shook her head. Then whoever leaked it knows how big this is. If they don't trust the police, the spies, or even the people in charge, this is bigger than politics. Riley crossed her arms. More than just a scandal? Pam met her eyes. More than just a cover-up. If someone in that secret meeting had made a mistake and got caught, they would have already erased the evidence. That meant whoever sent the video was either very powerful or impossible to touch. But why did they send it to her? Pam turned back to the screen. She stared at the frozen video of the hidden meeting. 7 men. Some were powerful Americans. Some were foreign spies. And one of them was a famous politician. A man known for keeping the country safe. A man everyone thought was loyal. Pam let out a dry laugh. Does he know he's been caught? Cole hesitated. No. Pam frowned. You're telling me he's just walking around like nothing happened? Riley shifted slightly. If he knew, we'd see him trying to fix it. Pam understood. No sudden resignations. No secret sources leaking a fake version of the truth. No slow-release news stories to cover it up. The secret was still safe. For now. Pam folded her arms. So what's next? You just sit on this? Wait for the right time to act. Cole didn't flinch. We brought you in for a reason. Pam's mouth twitched. And what reason is that? To take the blame if this all falls apart. Riley's voice was calm. To make a choice. Pam let out a sharp breath. She didn't need this. She could walk out. Forget she ever saw anything. Go back to her life. Let the powerful people handle it. But deep down, she already knew that wasn't an option. Because whoever sent that message, they wanted her involved. They expected her to be She looked at Cole. What happens if this gets out? Cole's face was blank. Depends on how it gets out. Pam turned her phone over in her hands. She could do this the right way. Ask the right people. Go through the right channels. Follow the law. But that would give the bad guys time. Time to hide the truth. Time to make her look crazy. Time to make sure the world never found out. She could take a risk. Go straight to someone they couldn't control. But before she could speak, a loud buzzing sound cut through the air. The room went silent. Cole pulled out a small device. He looked at it, then at Pam and Riley. His face was serious. We've got company. Pam frowned. Who? Cole turned to Riley. Check the cameras. Riley moved fast. She typed quickly on the computer. A live video of the building entrance popped up on the screen. Pam's stomach dropped. 2 black SUVs. Dark windows. No license plates. The kind of cars used when people wanted to stay hidden. Cole muttered a curse. Pam's heart beat faster. Tell me you were expecting them. Cole didn't answer. Riley kept typing. They're not here for a meeting. She looked up. They're here for us. Pam felt her breath catch. Whoever was behind this, whoever had been watching, they were done waiting. And now they're coming. To make sure the truth never left this room. Pam's muscles tensed. On the screen, the SUVs just sat there. No one got out. But she knew how this worked. The people inside weren't here to talk. Cole moved fast. We need to shut this down now. Riley was already on it. Her fingers flew across the keyboard. I'm erasing everything. If they get in here, they won't find anything. Pam swallowed hard. She kept watching the screen. The driver's door of the first SUV opened. Just a little. Someone inside peeked out. Then closed it again. They were waiting. She turned to Cole. Who are they? Cole clenched his jaw. If I had to guess? Private security. Pam's stomach twisted. Secret soldiers. Men with no names. No records. The kind of people who did what they were told, no questions asked. Riley's screen flickered. She cursed. We've been locked out. Cole snapped his head toward her. What? Riley typed fast. Someone outside is taking over our system. They're cutting us off. Pam stepped forward. You mean, someone inside this building? Riley didn't answer. But the look in her eyes was enough. Pam felt her skin grow hot. She had spent years around powerful people. And she knew one thing. The biggest secrets were always protected from within. They weren't just being watched. They had already been betrayed. Cole reached under his desk. He pulled out a locked case. Opened it. Inside was a burner laptop and a hard drive. Pam raised an eyebrow. You always keep an escape plan? Cole didn't look up. I don't like surprises. Riley kept typing. We have 3 minutes. Either they break in, or someone lets them in. Pam took a sharp breath. So what's the plan? Cole pulled out a flash drive. Everything we have is on this. We need to get it out before they reach us. Pam looked at the live feed again. The SUV door was wide open now. A man stepped out. Dark suit. No badge. But the way he moved, like he knew no one would stop him, made Pam's blood run cold. She turned back to Cole. And you think they're just going to let us walk out of here with that? Cole shook his head. No. That's why we need a distraction. Riley nodded toward the side door. There's a stairwell that leads to the parking garage. If we get there first, we might escape. Pam looked at the screen again. Another man got out of the second big black car. These people weren't just here to scare them. They were here to make sure no one could tell the truth. Pam took a deep breath. She had always believed in the law. She thought that even if it had problems, the system would fix itself. But what she saw tonight was worse than just bad people. This was something big, something designed to keep the truth hidden forever. If she walked out of here, she wouldn't just be someone who saw the truth. She would be their next target. Cole handed her a small flash drive. You're the only one who can run with this, he said. Pam hesitated. What about you? Cole didn't answer right away. His face showed no fear. We'll slow them down. Pam's heart started beating faster. That's not a plan, she said. That's a death sentence. Riley grabbed her arm. We don't have time to argue, she said. Pam looked down at the flash drive in her hand. She had a choice. She could leave it behind, let someone else fight this battle. She could go home, pretend she never saw anything and stay safe. Or she could run. Take the truth and show the world no matter what happened to her. Even if she could never be safe again. Pam squeezed the flash drive in her fist. Outside, the men were getting closer. She turned to Cole. Buy us time. Then, without another word, she ran. Pam tried to stay calm, but her heart was racing. The hallway in front of her was empty. The lights above hummed softly. Riley was right beside her, running fast. Her eyes were locked on the stairwell at the end of the hall. Behind them, Cole stayed back. He was making a distraction. Pam hated leaving him behind. But there was no time to stop. Riley yanked open the stairwell door. They slipped inside. The air was cold. The walls were bare concrete. It felt like reality had just hit them. Pam took a deep breath and kept moving, one step at a time. They ran down the stairs, their footsteps barely making a sound. Halfway down, Riley whispered, "We get to the parking lot. We found a car. We leave DC right away." Pam nodded. She held the flash drive tight like it was the only thing keeping her going. Then suddenly, a door above them slammed open. Heavy footsteps. Fast. Coming for them. Riley whispered a bad word. "They're here." Pam didn't stop. If they hesitated, it was over. She pushed through the exit door and burst into the underground garage. There were rows of black cars, all looking the same. The dim lights above reflected off their shiny tops. Riley scanned the lot. "Keys. We need keys." Pam pointed. "There." A key box on the wall. Riley ran toward it while Pam watched their backs. Her heart pounded. Then footsteps. Pam spun around. The first man stepped into the garage. Black suit. Confident. No fear. He saw her right away. And he wasn't surprised. Pam felt sick. They knew she would try to run. Riley yanked open the key box. She grabbed a car key fob. "Go." Pam ran. She threw open the nearest car door. Riley jumped into the driver's seat. The engine roared to life. Then, gunfire. Bullets hit the car, making sparks fly. Riley slammed her foot on the gas pedal. The tires screeched. The car shot forward, just missing the men running toward them. Pam turned in her seat. She saw one of the men. The man from the first black SUV. He wasn't running after them. Because he didn't have to. Pam's stomach twisted. They weren't trying to kill her. They were trying to control her. Riley sped toward the exit ramp. She swiped a clearance card against the reader. The gate groaned open. More men rushed into the garage behind them. And then, they were out, speeding into the night. Pam breathed hard. Her hands gripped her knees. She tried to make sense of what had just happened. Riley glanced at her. Her voice was serious. "Where do we go?" Pam looked down at the flash drive in her palm. She had it. The truth. The proof. But the real question wasn't where to go. It was, who could she trust? She turned to Riley. She let out a slow breath. "I know exactly where we're going." And she prayed she was right. Pam had spent her life believing the system could fix itself. That good people with the right proof would do the right thing. But tonight, as she sped away from the very people who were supposed to protect justice, she realized something. The truth wasn't enough. It had to get to the right person. And not everyone wanted to hear it. As long as money could buy power, as long as the people in charge decided what the world got to know, corruption wouldn't just exist. It would grow. Pam had a choice. Stay quiet and let the lie continue. Or risk everything to tell the truth. And for the first time in her life, she knew there was no going back. The real fight had just begun. Because the truth is only as powerful as the people willing to defend it. What would you do? If you enjoyed this story, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more exciting stories filled with adventure, mystery, and unforgettable moments. Your support means the world. It keeps these stories coming and the creativity flowing. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.